right. All right, I'll call the Shakopee Board of Adjustment and Appeals to order. It is Thursday, October 9th, 7 p.m. First item of business, Mr. Kursky, can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Forsythe.
Here.
Commissioner Weiler.
Here.
Commissioner Sandu.
Here.
Commissioner Redding.
Here.
Excuse me. Commissioner Ranawa.
Here.
Commissioner Sepulveda.
Here.
Commissioner Robbins.
Here.
All right, second item tonight, approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or subtractions to tonight's agenda?
Nope.
All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
All right, we have a first by Forsythe,
A second.
second by Weiler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. Third item is recognition by Board of Adjustment and Appeals of interested citizens. Are there any interested citizens here tonight that would like to discuss something not on the agenda? Awesome. All right, item 4, consent business. We have the approval of the Board of Adjustment and Appeals meeting minutes from September 4th, 2025. May I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Sandu has it.
All right, Commissioner Sandu
And
makes
Rano.
the motion.
And I'll second it.
Commissioner Ranwa seconds that.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to speak to the minutes.
Okay.
On the Board of Adjustment minutes for October 9th, if you go to the,
Number 4.
excuse me, for September 4th, if you go to the second page, the last page, fifth line down, it says Commissioner PC2, and I don't think there's a commissioner's name in there.
Good catch.
Yes. So it looks like we're missing the commissioner that made the motion.
Right, it
Yeah,
just
we'll
says
figure out who it
Commissioner.
is.
What's that?
We'll figure out who it is.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right,
Noted.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, so with that, can I get a motion to approve the minutes with that adjustment to be made?
So moved.
All right, Commissioner Forsythe makes the motion.
Second.
Commissioner Robbins seconds. Do we need a roll call?
Nope.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I will, I wasn't here at the meeting, so
Commissioner Redding will abstain from the vote. All right, either way, that passes. Item 5, other business. Is
Nope.
there any? Perfect. Moving on, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn to Thursday, November 6, 2025 at 7 p.m.
so moved.
Commissioner Redding moves.
Second.
Commissioner Sandu seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, meeting adjourned.
Sweet. I will now call to order the Planning Commission at, 7:03. We'll start with item 1 on the agenda, roll call.
Commissioner Forsythe.
Here.
Commissioner Weiler.
Here.
Commissioner Sandu.
Here.
Commissioner Redding.
Here,
Commissioner Ranawa.
Here.
Commissioner Sepulveda.
Here.
Commissioner Robbins.
Here.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 2, approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda?
Nope.
All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Commissioner Robbins, is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Sandu with the second. Any discussion on approving the agenda?
again, I will abstain. I missed the meeting.
Thank you for that.
September.
I will as well.
Thank you. Commissioner Sepulveda also. All right. With all of that, I'll entertain a motion. No. All in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Move on to item 3, recognition by Planning Commission of interested citizens for things that are not on the agenda. Is there anything you'd like to speak to that's not on the agenda already? No. All right. Sounds great. Then we'll move on to item 4, the consent agenda. The only thing under consent is the approval of the Planning Commission meeting minutes from September.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I have can I speak to the minutes? for a minute?
Absolutely. Yeah.
On these minutes, if on the second page, it says recognition of the Board of Adjustment and Appeals. I think that should say Planning Commission.
Sure. Mr. Kursky, you hear that? Item 3? Yep. Yes. So with that change to item 3 to read recognition by Planning Commission of interested citizens, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Robbins. There's a second.
Second.
Commissioner Sandy with the second. Any discussion on that?
I'll abstain from approving.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Perfect. That passes unanimously. Then we'll move on to item 5, general business. There are 3 public hearings under general business. We'll just start with 5A, a public hearing on a comprehensive plan amendment on Richland Court. Entertain a motion to approve, open that public hearing.
Yeah, I make a motion that we open the public hearing.
Thank you,
And I
Commissioner
second it.
Robbins. Commissioner Randall with the second. Any discussion on opening the public hearing? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Great. Is there a presentation from staff?
Yep.
Great.
So, Chair and Commissioners, you've seen this item before. So this is effort to re-guide property from suburban residential to suburban edge residential. City of Shakopee is proposing to amend the 2040 comp plan for Lot 1, Block 1. The subject property is located off County Road 78 east of the Town Line Avenue. The applicant has proposed to plat Richland Court that would consist of 8 single-family homes. The net acreage per city code standards would be 2.34 with a density of 3.42 acres, consistent with that guiding. However, the Met Council determined this project was not consistent with their density formula, which does not exclude public right-of-way. This has resulted in a density of 2.84 units per acre, which is below the suburban residential guiding regulations of 3 units an acre. For this development to be approved for issuance of a sewer permit, it needs to be re-guided to suburban edge residential, which has a density requirement of between 0.1 and 3 units an acre. This is identical to the surrounding properties. So if we look, this is the property where, let me get this to work. Well, it's the darker green property. That's the current guiding that it has. It was an outlier because this is left from from a previous project when this was approved probably 10 or 15 years ago. We did see a denser project. They reduced the density based on the neighborhood, but then it threw out of compliance with the Met Council. So we're proposing tonight to have it match the surrounding properties so it would have the same guiding as all of the yellow properties that are in this area. So this is the plat of 4.36 acres that's previously been approved by you and the City Council. The net lot area is 2.82 acres. There's an outlot area of 1.5 acres that basically are wetlands and tree preservation areas. So the Met Council determined that as a result of their calculation of the density, it's only 2.84, which was not close enough to meet the guiding that was on the property. So we recommend adoption of Resolution R 2025-113, approving the re-guiding of the property from, recommending the City Council approve that guiding the property from suburban residential to suburban edge.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
Mr. Kursky, so just so that I understand, the suburban edge is lower density than
Yes.
suburban residential.
Yep.
And just for my information, the Metropolitan Council, without their approval, I mean, if we were to say, well, we don't want to do this, then we would have difficulty getting various permits. Am I right?
Yeah, so this came up because the applicant applied for their sewer permit for the subdivision and was turned down by the Met Council because they didn't meet the 3 units an acre. 2.84 wasn't close enough, so.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah. And so the next question is there a plan for the city to change that to match Met Council so we don't run into this again?
That's what you're doing right now.
No, I'm saying like in general, like the general
calculation.
definition of suburban residential to match, right?
Well, we had to.
So like including the rights of way and stuff like that, right? Isn't that what it is? Wasn't that
Yes.
the concern that one included the right of way and one didn't include the right of way?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, how can I say this nicely? Their way they calculate it is depending on necessarily who we get.
Could you explain what that means?
So we have different people that move around within the Met Council to look at things and provide. There was no issue until the person came back and decided that this was an issue.
And happened to get a different Met Council representative or Met Council employee.
Because again, the city by code includes the roads, they do not. So it's we're having this issue on another project, so we actually sent it to them in advance and got an opinion letter so that if something happens, we can go, no, you agreed.
Okay. And it's not the right answer to just change city code to match Met Council.
Correct.
Okay.
Because it has impacts on other things like
Yeah.
stormwater and
Sure.
landscaping and other things.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess just to riff off that is that like in our city code, like there's a formula for calculating density, but what you're saying is like that Met Council isn't really operating off a formula, it's operating off of sort of the whim of who you get.
No,
where
they
sometimes they're including a right of way and sometimes they're not.
Chair and Commissioner, they have their own formula, and it really depends on what gets submitted and what they make a decision on what to count. So on this one, there's a wetland that's down in this corner that ended up not being preserved, but was counted in the original, so it threw off all the densities. So most of this existing wetland is being preserved, so we had to kind of argue. You can see that little corner up there, they weren't counting like that little corner. I mean, it gets down to tiny little areas.
Okay.
And you can imagine the volume they see, so you really have to work with them.
Okay.
Okay. Appreciate you talking about kind of the general thing. I mean, we can talk now more about the specific, but
So this is
Any
pure,
other-
this is not changing the project or density or whatever. This
Right,
is just
right.
changing the color.
right, yes, changing the designation of the property from suburban to suburban edge.
So we're waving our magical bureaucratic wand.
That's right.
So that he can get his sewer.
Look, that's all we have is bureaucratic wands.
Yep.
Any other comments for or questions for city staff? All right. This is a public hearing. Is there anybody here that'd like to speak on this issue? All right. Hearing none, seeing none. I suppose I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Commissioner Sepulveda, is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Sandu with the second. Any discussion on closing the public hearing? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. All right, so that passes unanimously. We are now just talking amongst ourselves. Any discussion before we propose a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion. And I don't know if this is the right one, but I would recommend that the Planning Commission forward a positive recommendation to the City Council regarding this regarding quest. Mr. Kirsty, is that a proper motion?
That's correct.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Great. So we do have a motion and a second for positive recommendation for Resolution 2025-113. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Forsythe.
Aye.
Commissioner Weiler.
Aye.
Commissioner Sandu.
Aye.
Commissioner Redding.
Aye.
Commissioner Ranawa.
Aye.
Commissioner Sepulveda.
Aye.
Commissioner Robbins.
Aye.
Thank you. That passes unanimously. And we'll move on to item 5B under general business, public hearing about Jackson Township Development AUAR update. Motion to open the public hearing, please.
So moved.
Commissioner Robbins.
Second.
Commissioner Sandu the second. Any discussion on opening the public hearing? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Mr. Kursky.
So again, this is the Jackson Township Development Area 2025 AUR and Mitigation Plan update done by SRF for the city. They did the original one 5 years ago. Alternative urban area-wide review process is being used as a planning tool to understand how different development scenarios affect the environment of the community. The process is designed to look at cumulative impacts of anticipated development. The AUAR document uses a standardized list of questions developed by the EQB. So AUARs must be updated every 5 years in accordance with the EQB guidance. Original Jackson Township Development AUAR was adopted in 2020. The next update is due by November of 2025. The update explains which scenarios remain the same and which sections have been changed or updated. Update is being prepared by SRF on behalf of the city. Public agency comment period is from September 30th till October 14th. The 2,890 acre study area was assessed based on land uses identified in the city's 2040 comprehensive plan and existing regulations. They used 2 development scenarios that were analyzed that's required as part of the AUAR process. While no specific development layouts or timelines were established when the AUAR was adopted in 2020, development has occurred within the area over the last several years, as well as changes in traffic patterns. So what's changed with this update? There's new climate adaptation and greenhouse gas information that's required. There was an update done to all the traffic analysis. There was an update regarding stormwater management, current developments, and environmental items, and mitigation plans had to be updated. So what's not changed? The land use future considerations stayed the same. The city's plan and proposed land uses are the same. All of these other objects are still the same. So the major recommendations out of the update are traffic improvements, i.e. construction of right turn lanes for Marystown Road and US 169 North and South. The roundabouts are under construction right now, and there's also the potential for additional traffic signals and roundabouts. The county has, I think it's in 2035, a roundabout planned on Marystown Road and 78. They agreed the other day that they would match us, which is building that roundabout in 2030. There is also potential for a traffic signal now at Zumbro where the new park is, given the amount of traffic that's coming out of there. Protection of threatened and endangered species in accordance with the latest Minnesota DNR and USFWS guidance. The city's in the process of purchasing the bluff to protect the wildlife, and we just redid Jackson Commons Park, which also has a large wildlife area. Climate adaptation, such as utilizing Green Step Initiative for designing efficient stormwater areas. The city is currently using the best practices for that. Future extension of sanitary infrastructure engineering is currently completing an update to its sanitary sewer master plan based on changes in the area to see if we can serve a larger area. Originally, it was designed to serve a large portion of Louisville Township. The Shakopee, Manitowoc, and Sioux has purchased a large portion of Louisville Township. So we are now looking at, they will not be developing that, so we're looking at taking that allocation and actually moving it from 150th Street north and then also moving it to the west along 169. So we would not necessarily have to build another sewer line in that area because we have potentially we have adequate capacity. And the compliance with the latest rules and regulations regarding stormwater management, historic properties, and other topics, the city is in compliance. So written comments can be submitted by October 14th. You should have all received a link to the document, and that's where we're at.
Great, thanks for that. Any
Mr.
questions
Chair?
for city staff?
So, Mr. Kiersky, just explain for us now what happens with this. Are we going to get it again? It's out for comment right now.
It's out for comment right now, Chair and Commissioners, and then those comments will be integrated by SRF, and then it'll be adopted by the City Council in November to meet the November 2025 deadline. And people have asked, so I'll give you, so these are very expensive. The first one was over $200,000. Just the update was $100,000. That is not paid for by taxpayers. It's actually paid by the property owners in this area. There is a fee of $1,000 an acre when the property develops. So for instance, the last piece of property you'll see next month, I think, in Jackson Township that we can annex and develop, they're going to be paying $78,000 in AUAR fees to bring that property in.
But we will not see this again.
You will not see this plan again, no. It'll go to the City Council for final adoption in November, and then it goes to the EQB to get published.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
I have a general knowledge question. So are we already having all the utilities like city sewer water in that area already? Is that what I heard?
I can't, we're having sound, I was just speaking, we're having some sound issues in here. One more time.
I'm asking, do we already have our city sewer water and utilities already in that red area, which is highlighted we're going to be annexing?
Yes, so the last AUAR that was done was required by the Met Council because they wanted to see whether there was adequate capacity in the Blue Lake station to handle all of the sewer developed in this area, which there was. The benefit of this now is because of the SMSE purchases in Louisville Township, we will not have to service that area. And so we're going to be able to take that capacity and spread it out into other areas of Jackson.
Thank you. Any other questions for staff?
You will see probably a new one of these in the next year or two as we do the comp plan because we're getting requests from Louisville Township, which we currently do not have an early annexation agreement with, to annex their property into the city. So we'll have to look at those impacts.
I guess I
Yeah.
have some comments. So,
Commissioner
and this doesn't really affect my support of, this going forward, but I just have a question. So one of the differences between what was planned in 2020 versus now is that there's, 1,300 more residential units that would go in. So it said that there was 1,600 and now there's 2,900. And so just when, in that groundwater section, there was really no change saying that we had we have wells, we can supply these people. But what I'm seeing is that the pattern with new developments is that just about every new development going in is using an irrigation system. And so these new developments are using more water than the developments in, downtown Shakopee or that were developed in the 80s or earlier. And so, when we look at our summer to winter ratio, these new developments are going to be driving up our ratio because we're allowing irrigation systems. Is there anything in the pipeline to entice developers to not installing irrigation with every single unit?
That's actually under Shakopee Public Utilities kind of control, and they've actually shown the water usage has gone down. So the newer homes actually are way more efficient than the older homes. And so the other big change is our density per dwelling unit has dropped considerably. So the water usage has dropped. So if you look at even a 10-year graph, the water usage, despite the large growth of population, has stayed pretty much the same. The other thing is we're doing, which we didn't do in the past, is large infiltration basins. So we're recharging the groundwater to the point of where the water level is starting to rise.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for that. Any other questions for city staff? Would you like to speak on this one? All right. It is a public hearing, though, so needed to ask. Since there aren't any public comments, entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Commissioner Robbins?
Second.
Commissioner Redding with the second. Any discussion on closing the public hearing? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Perfect. All right. So what comes next?
Mr. Chair, let me speak. It took me a long time to go through all this. It's a lot of paper.
139 pages.
139 pages.
Yeah.
He counted.
I was actually hoping Mr. Kursky was going to read the whole thing.
It was a good read. I read that too. It was really informative, and I was really happy with the wording and everything. It was great.
Yeah, and it does give you an idea about how complicated it is for development and what we have to do to make sure that it's done in an orderly fashion.
Right.
I think the other change when you go to density is that there are a lot more apartments getting built, particularly in this area. So that raises the number of dwelling units. So when they talk dwelling units, that includes apartment units. So, and if you remember, D.R. Horton did twin homes, which again is way denser than standard single-family homes along 78. So those have bumped up our density considerably, which makes them at council happy. So.
Yeah. Great.
Mr. Chair, just a comment.
Yeah, appreciate that. Any other comments? All right. So what's the pleasure of the commission?
Well, I'll recommend adoption of Resolution R2025-114, authorizing the adoption of the Alternative Urban Area-wide Review update for the Jackson Township Development Area.
Thank you, Commissioner Redding.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Robbins. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, we'll go to a roll call.
Commissioner Forsythe.
Aye.
Commissioner Weiler.
Aye.
Commissioner Sandu.
Aye.
Commissioner Redding.
Aye.
Commissioner Ranawa.
Aye.
Commissioner Sepulvedo.
Aye.
Commissioner Robbins.
Aye.
Thank you. That passes unanimously. And now we'll move on to 5C, a public hearing about a modification of home occupancies to allow dog boarding and daycare. We need to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Commissioner Sepulvedo?
Second.
Commissioner Sandy with the second. Any discussion on opening the public hearing? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Great.
So much
Mr.
fun. So this came about, there were 2 workshops at the city council because our enforcement people were out, and there are more than 2,000 people in the city of Shakopee that are registered on Rover, for instance, and there are other ones. So we're talking about thousands of people that are currently operating illegally, and so there's no way for us to basically keep on top of that with one person. So the council had long discussions. Some of the users and neighbors showed up and talked about impacts on the community and how other home occupations are licensed, and they wanted this occupation to be licensed so that people would pay a fee, your neighbors would get notified, there would be some tracking. If there are complaints, you could pull a license and the person would be out of business. So here we are after 2 meetings. So home businesses that temporarily care for dogs not owned by the resident, these are the requirements: must obtain and annually renew a permit subject to city inspection. So the city would have the rights to check, for instance, when you have animals on your property, you have to make sure they're properly vaccinated. That's one of the requirements. That's no different than the commercial establishments. Require a permit even if no compensation is received. Limit care to a maximum of 4 non-owner dogs at a time. There's strict outdoor activity to fenced rear yards. Notify landlords if the home is rented. HOA rules would still apply. No unattended outdoor dogs except via video monitoring or personal presence. Continuous barking over 3 minutes would count as a violation. Drop-off and pickup hours would be 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Overnight boarding is allowed for up to 180 days per year. Provide off-street parking for clients. There would be no street stacking allowed, so people would have to park in the driveway. Keep proof of vaccinations for all border dogs, so rabies, distemper, and bordetella. Maintain records for all non-owner dogs available for any city review. No boarding of sick or aggressive dogs. Commercial kennels or large-scale operations are prohibited in single-family zones. Breeding or selling dogs as part of the business is also prohibited. So, action sought to recommend adoption to the City Council of Ordinance O-2025-021, amending Section 157.007G of the Shakopee City Code relating to home occupation permits for dog daycare.
Thank you. And the first question is, you started out by saying they're right now operating illegally.
Yes.
They're breaking city code right now by
Yes.
having this. And what part of city code are they breaking right now?
It's not an allowed use. You can't
Okay.
board dogs in your home.
Okay.
You can have as many dogs as you personally own. There's
Yeah.
no limit in the city. But beyond that, you're not supposed to be
Okay.
having dogs unless it's like your family dog or a visiting dog for your son or daughter or whatever.
Sure.
Does that go for fostering a dog too?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
different.
that's a great question. I was going to ask the same
Yeah,
thing.
fostering is like ownership, basically. You're taking care of a dog that you basically, it's your dog while you're taking care of it.
No, I was going to ask the same thing because
Yeah.
to the wrong person, fostering could look like boarding.
Yep.
Well,
You
and
know.
what if they're just a foster parent? What if it's someone who all they do is foster dogs temporarily and then they move on?
I don't think it's an issue. I think the issue is that we've seen is people have anywhere from, I think the largest we found was 14 dogs at the house.
Okay, that's fair.
But I imagine the difference, right, is that
Yeah.
if you're operating as a boarder, you are,
You're on
running
Ro-
a
you're-
small business, right?
Yeah, you're on Rover or one of the other
Yeah, yeah.
many apps there are out there.
Sounds
Mr.
good.
Chair?
I have a handful of questions.
Yes. Let's start with Commissioner Sepulveda, then we'll go to Commissioner Robbins.
So does this permit approval process, this ordinance, only apply to those that are like registered within the app? What if someone's not registered within the app and is doing
It applies to anyone. I'm just using Rover as one we were
Okay.
able to track and find out how many people were on that app in the city, and it was over 2,000.
Okay. So then that leads me to my follow-up question there is how do we plan to enforce or police that?
Just like we do any other thing, we've had really good compliance on home occupation permits. So if you want to be a gun dealer, for instance, you have to get a home occupation license. And we will work. We're having the same issue with short-term rentals. There's actually software out there that can tell you how many people are doing it and how many times a week they're doing it. We will use tools at our disposal, and basically the courts, knock on some wood, have been fairly supportive recently of city activity. I mean, we actually tore a house down on Jennifer Lane that somebody basically decided not to maintain, and the court granted us access to tear the house down and take all their properties. So I think the way it's set up now, we're modeling this after other cities. If you get a license and you're a violator, you're going to lose your license. You're going to appeal to you all or the city council. And then if you still don't have it and you're still doing it, you're going to end up with the policeman at your office taking you to court.
How do you plan then on informing the public?
So this will
of
be sent out to, we're going to hopefully work with Rover and some of the other apps. There'll be news articles, et cetera.
Okay. You said at the workshop, it included those who do this activity. What was the overall sentiment? I assume that they were involved in creating these guidelines.
Yep, the last time when we presented this draft ordinance, there was a lengthy discussion about what was the maximum number of dogs, and between some of the people in the council, I think there was a settlement on 4. That's similar to what other cities have.
So they were, in general terms, like
Yeah, I mean, I think
like
the person that had 14 dogs wasn't very happy, but that's...
Sure.
And people wanted to do it by square foot or whatever, and I'm like, we're not gonna, that would just be impossible for
Yeah.
us to enforce.
Okay, last question is how much for the permit? And you said it had to renew annually?
Yep, council hasn't set that, but I don't think we're gonna recommend a very high fee. It'll probably be, $25 or $50.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Soloto. Commissioner Robbins.
Yes, Mr. Kiersey, has this subject field, have you gotten complaints?
Oh, yeah.
People have called in and said there's problems with
That's
dogs.
why we're here, because the police department would go out and say you can't do it, and the people go, okay, I won't do it again, and then they'd come back or neighbors would complain. The person that had 14 dogs, I mean, they were complaining they'd taken $100,000 a year. Well, that's a pretty big business running out of your house.
Yeah.
I mean, we have professional places in town that do this as a licensed business with the state and the Department of Agriculture. And, I think council's attitude was, if you do it 180 days a year for boarding, so you can do that. And for daycare, you can't have more than 4 dogs.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, that's what I...
Thank you. Yeah. Any other questions from?
On the continuous barking, is that like a continuous barking outside or continuous barking inside? I just kind of curious.
I'm going to say it's probably going to be outside, because that's where you're really going to hear it. And
It's
most
basically
cities,
audible barking
Yeah.
for more than 3 minutes in a row,
and
right?
most cities have that. If you're barking for more than 3 minutes, you're likely to end up with a police officer at your door.
Okay.
And then I have one other question, just advocating for the rural residential contingency. The 4 dogs, if you have, like over an acre, 2 acres, 3 acres, 4 dogs.
No.
Is that- Okay.
Fair enough. Any other questions?
So that
Yeah,
I'm
Commissioner
clear,
Weiler.
today, they can't do it at all. They're breaking code now. And what we're
Correct.
proposing is putting in a process with guidelines. They apply for the permit, meet the guidelines, and then they can do it under those guidelines.
Yeah, so currently we have lots of people that do home occupations, and we get lots of complaints. So we have a number of people that were running basically restaurants out of their houses. So we've informed them you can't do that. There were lines of cars waiting to pick up their food. So it's a constant issue, and if you don't have any rules, you can't enforce it. So at least if there's a problem person, we can enforce it.
Thank you.
And then one quick question that may sound kind of pedantic, right? So it's one of the things in there was the only outside activity is in a fenced backyard, right?
Yep.
Does that preclude somebody from walking the dog?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you have, 4 dogs would be very hard to walk, because I have 3 and I can't walk them together. So
Fair enough.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think
obviously keeping your dogs under control. Yeah. But if you're on Rover, you've got 1 dog. There's nothing wrong with walking that 1 dog,
No.
right? Okay. I just want to.
yeah, but if you're daycare or boarding and you've got 4 dogs, you're gonna have to have a fence yard.
I get that part. Yes, you can't just let them run around in your yard. I get that. But when it said the only outdoor activity permitted was in a fenced backyard, that to me said, well, there are other outdoor activities like
Yeah.
walking a dog that should be fine. I would hope. Okay, sounds good. Any other questions for city staff? All right, this is a public hearing.
Yes, I do have concerns over this.
Well, then, we'd love for you to come up here, sign in
Have we
with that
opened the
pen.
public- Have we opened?
No, we have not.
We have not opened the public hearing
Have
yet.
you opened it up?
We did right at
Yeah,
the
we did.
beginning.
Oh, duh.
Yeah, it's already open.
Sorry.
It's the first thing we did.
Strike that.
And then just go ahead and state your name and please tell us your thoughts.
It was Commissioner Sepulveda, followed by Commissioner Sandu, who opened the public.
Thank you. Wow, you just really had to.
I'm John Arco. I lived in Shakopee. I've been here for 25 years. And actually, the only reason I found out about this today was I came down to make a complaint because I'm tired of dogs coming in and out of this resident next to me. They bark at 9 o'clock at night as they let them out. I go to bed at that time. I work at 5 in the morning, stuff like that. Anyways, came down. They told me to come down here and voice my opinion if I can. So thank you. I appreciate that. As for this ordinance, we already have an ordinance that says we don't have them. So the question is, why aren't we fining people? How many violations does it take for an action to be taken? You know, we could have 10, 12 violations, and what action is taken? And there's no consequences for these daycares. And I've already had a dog, I walked outside, I'm like, whose dog is this? All of a sudden it decided to go relieve itself in my front yard, which then I had to go to the neighbor and wait probably about 15 minutes for him to come out and pick it up and return it back. I've also had another dog come into my garage while I was working in it, and I'm like, who is this? And they come running in, grab the dog, say thanks, and walked away really quickly because they were all concerned that I might do something. That these dogs are now, loose for the most part. I witnessed today 2 dogs getting out of the vehicles unleashed, and they were running around the vehicle until they got them in the house.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just want to know what is going to be the consequences for this, and if we're going to go the ordinance, there's so many flaws in it that, I mean, I sat here just thinking about it, just writing down all the issues that have come up. And for the most part, my friend or my other neighbor wasn't able to be here today due to the fact he had medical reasons, but I told him about this meeting, and he gave me a long text to read to you guys, but I don't know if you want it. But his name's Gary Feist, and he lives across the street from me on Primrose Lane. I have never made a complaint before with these people because you want to be a good neighbor. Well, I'm tired of being a good neighbor. At what point do we say no? So as far as everything, I mean, if we want to go into what the ordinance is, I think what you have here is a start, but other cities don't even have an ordinance due to the fact it's so complicated. So where do we go from here? I'm not too sure. And as far as the 2,000 people that I guess have doggy daycares in, maybe the city just needs to, fine them, go after them that way because no one's going to do anything. And have a substantial fine because they'll just keep doing it. The person who made $100,000 a year, sure, they're going to pay the fine and continue on. But at what point do you draw the line? This area is zoned as residential. Your ordinance before, if you're in a residential area, you're not allowed to have them. These people are just violating that. And it seems like people are just doing what they want these days, and we need some sort of way to curb it.
So does it help you that with this ordinance, now you can make a formal complaint that
I
will
could've made a formal
that will be
complaint.
registered as a violation, and after a certain number of violations, they are not allowed to have any dogs anymore, and if they do break that, then police are at their door. Does that help you in this case?
Well, I'm wondering how many violations it takes because
That's a question, right? So how many violations? Do we have a number yet for a number? Okay, I think that'd be a good thing to figure out among city staff, right? What the process looks like, yeah.
if you want to go into the ordinance, what about liability and stuff? Who's covering that? Is there insurance now required? This is a small business and now is in a residential area. So you tell me, should a business be in a residential area? Just like you're talking about food, people coming up, delivering, at what point do you say no? I mean, basically, we're just continuing accommodating everybody who's doing something different. And you already made the rule or the ordinance, why would we change it? That's because you can't account for the 2,000 people that are doing it.
No, but if they're going to follow the rules, apply for the permit, obtain the permit, pay the fee, and ideally follow the rules
Sure.
without violation, then
Okay,
who are
so-
we to say you're not allowed to do that?
Well, the other thing is I did notice that when you did have the ordinance, there was NA for cost. There's going to be a lot of costs because you're going to have enforcement now. You're going to have people who have to audit. You're going to have the people who have the business are going to have to maintain records, and they could falsify the records on how many, so they could be operating more than 180 days. Where's the,
Yeah, if they falsify records, they would be breaking city code and could be liable for that, absolutely.
see, it gets very complicated very quickly. And, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out where it's going to go.
Yeah,
If
thanks.
they're
Chair?
going to run a business out of their home, that is up to them. And for them to cover. If they don't and something happens, then they're going to be held liable.
Sure.
Just like you do any other business.
Thank you.
Right.
Commissioner Robbins?
I appreciate your comments. Are you asking us to do something different? I mean, what is your
I'm
point?
thinking this ordinance isn't ready to even be out yet. There's not enough, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in it, but it's still vague for the most part. There's a lot of ways of going around it, and there's a lot of things that weren't,
Do you have a copy of it?
yes,
Do you
I
have a copy of what we have?
Yeah, I have it right
I
here.
mean, there are a number of points that are stipulated here.
Right.
Sentence points about things that have to happen. Do you agree with those?
Yes, well, I agree with most of them, but once again, you're basically making a residential zone, change to the zoning law of that particular house by having a business in it.
So, to that point,
So
are
we-
there other
Yes.
home-based businesses
We
that are
have-
allowed in code? So like somebody maybe that, you
I
know,
would say we have hundreds, if not more. I mean, it goes everything from firearms dealers to there's a state law that allows you to run a bakery out of your house now for home-based business for baking that you can sell.
okay.
That's pretty
So just to
popular.
make sure, this would not be the first home-based business allowed in the
Yeah.
city.
The home-based businesses that we currently have, the only restriction against them is you can't have semis coming and delivering stuff to your house.
Which is fair.
And you can't have multiple people coming to your house. So we do allow that. We have lots of dog groomers that have home-based businesses in the city, and that's kind of how this started. Some of the home-based groomers suddenly went into the daycare and boarding business, and that's when we had problems.
Sure, that makes sense. And I mean, I think another good example is a home-based daycare, right? I mean,
Yep.
those are allowed
We have,
as well.
they're allowed by state law, and
Right,
they're
right.
everywhere
Mr.
in
Chair?
the city.
Yeah, Commissioner Robbins?
Again, I appreciate some of your comments. I think what we're trying to do, though, is move forward here. We understand there's some difficulties.
Right.
That's why this report's here and all of these recommendations. The city council understands that. I think, as Commissioner Sepulveda said, if you don't follow the rules, there's a fine. You can get fined for that, and at some point we can bring in enforcement.
Sure.
The subject of dogs always is an emotional one. Whenever you talk about dogs, it's an emotional one. But I'm just trying to get at the point of, I think this is at least a start in making it better. And if you have anything that, if there's something that we should add, I'd like to know that. If you think there's something we should.
How many dogs does your neighbor have
They
visiting?
own 2 of themselves. And
I know,
then
but how many are visiting?
as far as I've seen, up to 4 at one time, but your thing says 4, but you could actually have up to 8 because they could be split during the days. They could be, and plus you don't know how friendly they are. So if I'm out maintaining my yard, I have dogs I have never met before that I have to try to figure out is, can I mow next to the property line? And let alone the noise that they make, because now, like today, they had dogs that arrived, and next thing you know, threw them in the backyard, in about 10, 15 minutes, they were barking. Because it's all new environment to them.
Well, and the great part about this ordinance, right, is that now you have something formal you can call, and this can be registered as a violation.
Well, right now, with the current ordinance, I have a right to do that.
Sure.
So and that's what I was planning on doing, but I figured I'd come here and see
Yeah.
where this was going to go.
Fair enough. Yeah, we appreciate you coming.
So.
Well, this will put more structure and rigor behind it and a process in place so more penalties can be enforced if needed.
And what type of penalties would you think of?
There will be fines, their license will be revoked, and if they continue to break it, then the police will get involved.
I mean,
Sure.
To laugh at them.
Okay. Yeah, basically, I'm just trying to figure out what's going to come of this.
Yeah.
no, I mean, I think the council did this because if we went out, we're not going to bring 2,000 people in front of a judge right now because they're going to say, well, what's your standard? Now we have standards so that if someone violates it, the first thing you'll do is get a complaint. They potentially get their license pulled. They'll come here and plead their case. They can then take their license away. And then if they still run their business, they're going to end up in front of a judge.
Well, I know in 2 weeks, the council is supposed to vote on it. So I'll try to make it back. It's on a Tuesday, but it is what it is. But I'm concerned with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already had 3 dogs. There was another dog that they were running around the neighborhood trying to catch that got away from them. Now, the other question I'm going to ask is, these homeowners, if they go on an errand or something, and they have kids who are under 16, let's say, so they're all minors, are they're attending these dogs. Where's, now the liability's on these kids, which, of course, they have no liability for the most part. And I'm wondering if
Well,
dogs
I'm not
go
an
away?
attorney, but I think the liability is still with the homeowner.
Yeah.
Even with
But yeah,
someone else's
right.
dog?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they're still running a business, right? Like if you,
Right.
Homeowner
if you ran a.
assumes
sorry.
liability for
If
the
you-
dog.
If you ran a home bakery and somebody got sick off your baked goods, you would still be liable for that.
But if you have minors running the business, that's.
I think you'd
enough.
still be liable.
The homeowner assumes the liability.
No, it was just a.
No,
no.
fair, yes. And, you know, hopefully, obviously, that never becomes an issue, but yeah. I think.
No, and I think based on if this gets passed, if you call and say, look, there's nobody there, the dogs are barking all day, someone's going to show up and say, look, first warning, you know, if we got to come back and this becomes chronic, you're going to lose your license and you'll be here pleading your case and they're going to have to vote you down.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. So we appreciate you coming to speak tonight.
Right. Like I said, I was just a chance that I.
No, it's great.
By chance.
That's
I came
exactly,
here.
honestly, that's exactly what a public hearing's for. So we really appreciate it.
Right.
Thanks.
In fact,
But it's
anything,
like, you're going to be the bad guy no matter, or I'm going to be the bad guy no matter what I do on this, because whether the city does it, I'm going to end up complaining to the neighbor.
Well, that's the thing. You're not a good or bad guy, right? This is about, you know,
Right.
if somebody's, you know, impinging on your, you know, quality of life, like there are things you can do to take care of that. So that's good.
You're allowed to have a use of enjoyment of your property.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
thank you for
Thank
listening. I appreciate that. Is that it? No, I don't know.
Yeah, you
I don't
can,
know what the policy
You can
is.
hang out. Yeah, you can
Listen.
go back and sit for the rest of it, or you can leave if you'd like. or-
First, right?
What's that?
You gonna leave a blood sample or?
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
No, I would,
No blood samples tonight.
I'd make two comments. I think one is what I'm hearing, a subtle thing that I think there's probably something we should reflect on is that today, again, if I'm understanding it right, they're not allowed to do this, period. And what we're hearing is there's thousands of people that are,
Yeah.
that are not having any repercussions.
There's
no
no recourse.
consequences. So part of the comment is, okay, so now you can put rules in. Why are we going to have consequences now? How is that going to change that? So that's one concern that I think is we should listen to. The second one that kind of came out kind of behind the scenes, I think, is this notion of unleashed dogs being dropped off. So if we got drop-off hours, he's out in his garage, the kids are out playing in the front yard, and Peggy Sue rolls up in the minivan and lets the two Dobermans out, and everybody get, you know, whatever. Maybe there should be something added about pick-up and drop-off. Dogs must be on leash until they get in the house or something. Because then the other comments were any outdoor activities in a backyard fenced in,
That's
right?
right.
So now they're contained and all those sorts of things. But I don't want to revisit. I think you guys did a good job having a bunch of people get together and talk about it, made a lot of good points, but maybe something that could be added
Yeah.
was this leash
No, and
issue.
so what we'll do is when council decides on what the fee is going to be for this permit, so there'll have to be some public education, and so this is going to take a little while.
Yeah.
They'll also set administrative fines, so I will stress to them when they do that, that they should be high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
Also, too, I just want to call out, like, these can always be amended in the future as we learn how this goes or complaints come
right.
in.
Yeah.
We can add additional guidelines.
Yeah, I hear you. It's not perfect. It won't be perfect, but we can't let perfect get in the way of progress, that whole deal, right? So let's start with something that's better than what we had 3
Start
weeks
at the
ago and amend it and add to it and change it as it goes.
That sounds
it's-
great.
I was going to say, what it's actually coming down is we're accommodating them because there are 2,000. So, yes, I understand, but you have an ordinance, basically, if someone's running it, you're supposed to shut it down for the most part. Now we're accommodating for them, so,
Well, and that's part of living in a city, right? Sometimes we do accommodate changes in behavior,
No,
right?
I understand
Things
that.
change. You know, for a while there wasn't an ordinance where you could have chickens in your backyard, but there was enough of people that wanted chickens in their backyard that they can have chickens
Or
now.
bees.
Or bees. Yes.
I could always have bees, and then it was taken away.
Yes. So fair enough. Yeah.
Someone get this in there.
Thank you for coming up and speaking.
yep.
Since I don't see anybody else that wants to speak in the public hearing, first let's entertain a motion to close the public
I
hearing.
move we close the public.
Thank you, Commissioner Robbins. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Weiler with the second. Any discussion on closing the public hearing? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So the public hearing's closed.
So I think one of the things that council is trying to do is, or staff's trying to help council do is, so for instance, you're not going to see this because it's not in the land use code, but we're going to be limiting short-term rentals. So right now,
Airbnb.
Airbnb.
Right now,
Airbnb kind of stuff, is that short-term rent?
yes, no, limiting them. So right now, you can do it by code for 180 days a year. And to this gentleman's point, who's measuring that? And so we're getting tons of complaints now. And as the amphitheater comes forward, I can guarantee you more and more of the homes will be rented. So we're going to pass an ordinance that you have to get licensed, just like you have to get licensed for a rental property. So an inspector's going to come to your house. They're going to make sure you have, et cetera, and they're going to monitor your house. And if there's complaints, they're going to come to your house. Our new health inspector will be visiting you. I mean, so council has to react to situations, and they're trying to get ahead of the curve because we have a number of problem properties right now. The other thing is you're going to have to be owner occupied. So the new thing is people with really large homes in Shakopee are moving out and renting them for $1,000 a night. So that's not going to be allowed anymore. Those people are going to have to sell their houses.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know. Yeah. And is that going to come in front of us too?
No, that's not a land use, it's a licensing.
Got it. Okay.
I want to go back to, you started this saying that there was 2,000 people doing this, and there wasn't a way to enforce this. Like, you just don't have the staff to enforce it. And so if you just take, like you mentioned, $25 times the 2,000, that's just $50,000. Is that enough to pay for a person to monitor this, assuming everybody gets a home
So
license?
when you license something, we have pretty sophisticated software that tracks all of that. So I think that will help. And so if someone goes and the person says, "Oh, these 4 dogs are mine," the first thing they're going to say is, "Oh, are they licensed dogs in the city?" I mean, we have ways in one system we can check everything. So we can actually go to a house, see whether your dog is licensed or not. And if they're not, we can say, if they're really your dogs, then you need to license them. So I mean, we have that capacity right now. So
you're not worried about current enforcement capacity?
No. It's we look at all the home occupations we have. I mean, it's incredible that we don't get that many complaints, and there's a lot of home occupations.
Okay.
I mean, most neighbors, they try to be neighborly and don't cause problems. But for instance, 2,000 people leasing their homes out for dogs is an issue, or leasing their homes out for parties. And they leave town, and there's 30 people at the house with the bus. That's a problem.
Totally agree on that one.
So we're trying to put regulations in place so that we can actually have, because right now when the police go out for a complaint, they'll say, "You really shouldn't be doing this," and the people go, "Okay, I won't do it anymore," and the next day they do it again. And so now we're going to say, we're going to take your license away, and then we're going to put you in front of a judge.
Right. And then I assume the city council then would be the ones to say, X number of violations mean that you lose your license. First violation costs this much, second violation costs this much, whatever, like the actual sort of penalties or the cost of the permit, or the council's coming up with that stuff,
Yep.
right? We're just talking generally about the policy without those specifics.
Yeah, this actually, the land use portion is in your code.
Right.
The other part will be in the fee schedule.
Great. Perfect. We are still just talking.
I do have one question for awareness piece. So this continued barking over 3 minutes only pertain to the people who running that business, not to the general public.
Correct.
Right. Good point. Yeah. Sorry, the public hearing is closed, unfortunately, but yeah. And the only other thing I would say, and I really like Commissioner Weiler's point about adding something into the code that talks about dogs being leashed coming into and out of the house.
Yep, that's an easy change we can make.
Yeah, I would love to add that if possible.
You mean like his drop off?
Right, yeah, drop off and pick up, right? So from the car to the door, that dog should be on a leash. And I like the idea of adding that if the rest of the commission's good with it, but I'm not going to be proposing it. So. Any other discussion amongst us before we look to some sort of a motion? I'm not hearing any, so
Mr. Chairman?
yes, Commissioner Robbins.
I move that we recommend to the City Council Ordinance 02025-021, amending Section 151.007G of the Shakopee City Code relating to home occupation permits for dog daycare.
Thank you. The only thing I would ask is that would you mind amending that motion to add the part about leashing dogs coming into and out of the house?
Yes, and that's a friendly motion, and that we would just add that.
Yes.
Mr. Piercy, that's all right?
Yep, and it hasn't been seconded yet, so you can make the change.
Perfect.
I add
So
that.
so now we have all of that with the addition
Yes.
of the leashing
Yeah.
leashing part. Is there anybody that's willing to second that motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Weiler. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Forsyth,
Aye.
Commissioner Weiler,
Aye.
Commissioner Sandu,
Aye.
Commissioner Redding,
Aye.
Commissioner Ranua,
Aye.
Commissioner Sepulveda,
Aye.
Commissioner Robbins.
Aye.
Thank you. That passes unanimously, and thanks for talking to us tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, that is the last public hearing. We'll go on to item 6, other business. Is there any other business?
Yes, so the city council did dissolve the, whatever it was called, the Park and Recreation Commission.
sad.
And
I was
did
on that for a
modify
while.
the city code that you are now also reviewing parks.
Do we get a
So-
raise?
No. You already got a raise.
That's right, yeah.
No, wait, would you say that again? I'm not quite.
So now when
Got a
park
raise.
projects come forward, so Bill Delaney, who's the city's landscape architect, when we bring a park forward, in the future, you'll see those plans.
For Park and Rec?
Because that was going through the Park and Recreation Advisory Board up until now.
Not for the past 3 years, but
Well, look, I have a little nostalgia for it because that's how I started in,
Yes.
helping out. But
So it will be just added into our normal agenda on a
Yes.
planning commission?
It won't be like a separate.
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
No, so the duties of the planning commission were changed to include reviewing park development.
Okay, that, I get it.
we are not getting paid more. Is that what you said? All right. Can we move to get paid more? Is that? I'm just kidding.
Other business.
Yeah, right.
Got you a big raise a couple years ago. Come
And I
on.
do appreciate you for that. Thank you for that. Any other business? All right, great. Then we'll move on to item 7 and entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Got Commissioner Robbins, Commissioner Sandu with the second. Any discussion on the motion to adjourn? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. We are adjourned at, I don't know what it is, 7:56, and we're adjourned to November 6th.